In the early 19th century, medical science was filled with daring experiments, some successful, others deadly. But in 1818, one physician made history. For the very first time, blood from one human was directly transfused into another, changing medicine forever. The year was 1818. Europe was still recovering from the Napoleonic Wars. Surgery was primitive, infection was common, and women continued to die in large numbers during childbirth due to blood loss. Doctors desperately searched for ways to replace blood when the body lost too much. But here's the problem. Back then, no one truly understood blood groups. The concepts of A, B, AB, and O blood types would not be discovered until Karl Landsteiner's groundbreaking research nearly a century later in 1901. To attempt a blood transfusion in 1818 was, in many ways, an act of blind faith. The pioneer was a British obstetrician named Dr. James Blundell. He worked at Guy's Hospital in London and was deeply troubled by how many mothers were dying from postpartum hemorrhage, massive bleeding after childbirth. Blundell believed that the solution was simple in theory: replace the lost blood with fresh blood. But rather than turning to animal blood, something other doctors had disastrously tried, he proposed something radical: human-to-human transfusion. In 1818, Blundell conducted his first transfusion. The patient was a woman suffering severe blood loss after childbirth. He collected blood from her husband using a syringe and then injected it into her veins. Imagine the scene: crude surgical tools, no anesthesia, no sterilization, and a group of doctors standing in tense silence, waiting to see what would happen. The results? Remarkably, the woman survived, at least temporarily. For the first time in recorded medical history, a patient received blood from another human being. Blundell didn't stop there. Between 1825 and 1830, he performed about 10 more transfusions. Some were successful, others ended in death. The survival rate was low, not because the idea was wrong, but because no one yet understood why some transfusions worked and others failed. We now know that mismatched blood types cause the body to attack foreign blood cells, leading to fatal reactions. But in 1818, this was a mystery. Despite the risks, Blundell's work was revolutionary. He designed special instruments, syringes, and devices he called impellers to make transfusions more practical. He also carefully documented his cases, helping future generations build on his work. Although many of his patients still died, his efforts proved one critical point: human-to-human transfusion was possible. That insight laid the foundation for modern transfusion medicine. For decades after Blundell, transfusion remained dangerous and controversial. Some doctors dismissed it as reckless. Others kept experimenting, often with tragic outcomes. It wasn't until Karl Landsteiner discovered blood groups in 1901 that transfusion became safe and reliable. From then on, blood transfusion transformed into one of the most life-saving procedures in medicine, saving millions during wars, surgeries, and emergencies. So when you hear about blood transfusions today, something so routine that hospitals perform them every minute, remember that it all began in 1818, with one doctor, a crude syringe, and a desperate attempt to save a mother's life. Dr. James Blundell's courage and innovation opened the door to a new era in medicine. His work reminds us that every breakthrough we take for granted today was once a risky leap into the unknown.